channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sonia and I'd love it if you could subscribe. And if you're already an existing subscriber, welcome back. So today I'm going to be filming my update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. So this is a project that is created by Alexi. I'll make sure to leave her channel below. And this project is where you try to hit pan or have a usage goal on eyeshadows in your collection. Everyone does this differently, but for me what I do is I either try to hit pan or I set a usage goal of 20 or I hit pan before those 20 uses. So I've got a couple here that are usage goals and then the rest of them are to hit pan. And I have 5 eyeshadows I'm working at a time because I do also have other eyeshadows in other projects as well. I'm really happy to say I can roll out 1 eyeshadow this month, so that means I get to roll in a new palette and a new eyeshadow. And no one will be surprised, I don't think, because I did mention that I would be focusing on this palette to try and get it rolled out this month, but I didn't know whether I'd be able to do it, and I can happily say I've managed to hit pan. So what we'll do is I will start with the one that I can roll out, then we will talk about the other 4 I'm still working on, and then at the end I will roll in another palette and then we'll choose an eyeshadow from that palette. I always use random number generator, so I don't choose the eyeshadow myself, it gets chosen for me. So what I will do is I'll make sure to leave everything below in the description box if I've missed anything, and let's just get into it. So like I said, I don't know whether people will be surprised at this because I did mention I was focused on it, but the one eyeshadow I finished is from my Natasha Denona Love palette. I do have my ring light on because again I'm filming a little bit later. It looks like it's about to rain outside, so I needed a little bit of light, so I'm sorry for the reflection. But the shade I had in here was Giving. What I will do on the screen is I will put a picture of what it looked like last update, and then I'll put a picture of what it looks like this update as well. So here is the pan, hopefully you can see that. This was a nice shade. I have other shades in my collection like this that I actually do prefer, like the Beauty Bay one. I mean, it's a different shade of pink, but I much prefer that one over this. And for me, even though I love the Colour Story and Natasha Denona eyeshadows, I think I much prefer Pat McGrath's formula, because don't get me wrong, it's not awful, but if I prefer a £15 palette to this £60 palette, I think it's actually gone up now, I think it's 65. Yeah, I think that says a lot. So I use this a fair bit 3 times. I did want to keep this in till I hit pan, and overall I used it 9 times. Now that's 9 days. I don't count the amount of times I dip into the eyeshadow, so I could have dipped like 3 or 4 times each time. I just count the days. And yeah, I am happy to have another one rolled out, and I'm happy to have the shimmer rolled out of this. I know the mattes take a long time to finish in Natasha Denona, because last year in my Pan Those Eyeshadows I did have the Sunrise palette, and that was a matte one, and that took me a while. This one, it took me 3 updates and I managed to hit pan. Now let's talk about the palettes I'm still working on and the eyeshadow in that palette. So my next one is my Rakiana palette from ABH. I love this palette and I'm so glad I bought it. I was on the fence for buying this for so long, and I'm so glad this January I bought it. What usually happens with these is I sit and wait that long that they get discontinued and then I can't buy them. So I'm really glad I did pick this up, and the shade I was working on in this is Sponsored. So again, what I'll do is I'll put a picture of what it looked like last update and then a picture of what it looks like this update. This is the shade I'm working on. So I'm getting a pretty big dip on this now, and I really like the shade. I've said that in previous updates as well. And I've only used it once though this last month. This is a shade I want to either use 20 times or hit pan before those 20 uses, and I'm at 5 at the moment, so I have 15 to go. I have a feeling I will hit pan before I get to 20 uses, but either way I'm happy to keep it in. I feel like this shade will definitely be used a lot more, maybe starting in September. I have used it over this summer period, but I do think that this shade would look really nice in that season, so I'm looking forward to getting some more use on that, and hopefully I will have pan on that one soon or hit my 20 uses. But like I said, I think I'll definitely hit pan on that one before 20 uses. And then these other ones were rolled in last month. So the next one is my W7 Total Eclipse palette. Sorry, this is really reflective. And the shade I rolled was Orbit. So this is what it looks like. Again, I've only used this once. It's not a super exciting update, apart from I finished one eyeshadow, but the other eyeshadows I feel like I've taken a backseat because I've got other eyeshadow palettes and other projects that I just seem to have been gravitating towards. But I have used this one and it is really pretty. I just love this palette. I don't have the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, which is what this is a dupe for, but this is really nice quality. It was, I think, about £12, if that, and I feel like I've got all the shades in here that I would need, really. So I mean, if that palette was to come into my collection, great, but I don't think I will actively go out and buy it because I have this one here. So this one will be staying in. I do want to hit pan on that one, so that one might be in for a while. But usually pinks are like my go-to, so maybe a couple of months and then that one might be rolled out. So the next one is from my Huda Beauty Nude Rich palette. The shade I got was number 8, which is this one here. It really doesn't look like I've used it. I mean, I've used it once, so I've not used it a huge amount of times. It barely looks like I've scratched the surface, and I want to hit pan in this, so this one might be until the end of the year. I think what I'm going to do at the end of the year is I'm going to do a finale for this, and then if I feel like wanting to pick this project up again next year, I will just start it afresh. But I think this one might be in till the finale, if I'm honest, because this looks like I've barely used it. But again, I have only used it one time, so technically I have barely used it. I did say last update that I did think that this could be in for a while because I've never tried to hit pan or even attempt to hit pan in a Huda Beauty eyeshadow before, so this was, I thought putting the goal of hitting pan could be quite ambitious, but I'm going to keep it at that. We're just going to see, and even if it's until the end of the year and I still don't have pan, at least I'll have use on it. I feel like this is going to be a perfect shade for autumn and winter. So I do think I will get some more use on this in the next couple of months. And then last but no means least, I haven't used this palette. I've just been focused on other eyeshadow palettes, but I will show you anyway. It is my MAC eyeshadow palette in Made My Fortune. This was from the Luna collection. Absolutely love the packaging on this. The shade I got was number 6, which is this one. Because my camera shows things back to front, I think last month I was like, oh, I'm not sure on this one. And I think Misty, I don't know if it was this palette or another one, she said, well, technically it actually looks like it should be the other side. But I can definitely tell you this is number 6. But that just made me laugh. But this is the one that I rolled in. I just haven't reach for it. I feel like it would look nice in the crease. It will also look nice in the outer corner. I just, like I said, haven't been reaching for it, but again, I do think that this will be a really nice shade for the next few months, and I'm hoping to at least get a couple of uses on this by next update. Fingers crossed. I would really love to have a couple more uses on all the other ones as well, because one use on each of them, apart from the Natasha Denona one, which I'm running out, isn't great. But I should really be prioritising these, but I also don't want to neglect any of the other eyeshadows in my other projects. But I've also just been enjoying not wearing eyeshadow as well, and I don't want to force it just for the sake of my project. I want it to be fun. So I think all of that is the reason why I've just not got as much use on these. But anyway, I can roll in a new palette and a new eyeshadow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see how many eyeshadows I now have in my collection. So what I do is I count palettes and individual eyeshadows as well, so they're all eligible for this project. I have 86. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a random number generator. So I'm going to use Pretty Random, and I'm going to do between 1 and 86, and hopefully you can see this. We have number 43. So what's number 43? Okay, so I'm just going to go and get that palette and I will be right back and we will then choose an eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm back and number 43 in my eyeshadow inventory is my Revolution Forever Dynamic. I really like this palette. My sister got this for me when I gave her some money to choose a full face of high street makeup, and my sister knows me well, and when I first tried this I fell in love with it. I just loved the look that I did with it. So this is what it looks like. So as you can see, there is 8 shades in this palette, and I'd be a bit nervous to get this one. The rest I'd be okay with. I mean, I'd be okay to get this one as well. The reason I'd be nervous is because I just don't usually use shades like this, so I'd find it difficult to incorporate it into my makeup look, but I would definitely give it a go if I got it. So we're going to do between 1 and 8, and we get number 4. Okay, whew. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm happy with that. I feel like that is definitely an everyday shade I can use. I will be putting this in to hit pan, and what I will do on the screen as well is I'll put a picture of my colour story now. I like to take my pictures before I stick my finger into the eyeshadow because this is new. That shade hasn't even been used and I don't want my finger dug into it for the picture. But I'm really happy with being able to roll one eyeshadow out. I don't think I'll be able to roll any out next update. I may be surprised, but I don't think I'll be able to. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and it means the absolute world to me if you could subscribe if you don't already. And until my next video, thank you for coming by. See you later.